We got the latest Manchester United news. Before we get into the news, please make sure you smash the like button. I hope everything is all right. We're on the road, as you see. I got my little microphone here. I don't know if this is working or not, but we're doing our best. We're doing our best. I need to figure out how to pull up the the chat. Don't worry about that. I got that. I got that on hand. Hope everybody's doing well though. And yeah, we're gonna get straight into the news as soon as I get the chat going. Let me just start off. Jadon Sancho, the summit that can close the deal will be held at the start of next week. This was from early hours today. The cost remains at 25 million. Payment options are being discussed. Sancho has given his yes to Juve. So we're gonna start with that because we got no sales going. We need sales, for sure. And, Jadon Sancho, apparently, before I left for vacation, Jadon Sancho was one that I said was probably we were going to end up with not being able to get rid of him. And it looks like we might actually be able to somehow get rid of him. So, yeah, Nubis Kubis says, welcome back, Eric. Welcome, Nubis Kubis. People that are in the show, if you could do me a favor, please, and let me know if everything sounds okay, because I can't hear anything. And usually I have a feedback loop. So please, please let me know if everything sounds okay, if it's not too loud. I don't have the best, with the volumes and stuff like that. Nubis says, are you in prison or something? Did you succeed in your mission with the Glazers? No, I'm on vacation. I'm in Malta. These are the houses. This is nice limestone. Nice limestone. Get your hands nice and dusty. We are not in prison. Ray says, we as a club, we suck. Yep. All right, sounds okay. Thank you, Nubis. Appreciate that. Yeah, so, I mean, we do. I'm quite highly disappointed. I mean, I haven't been like keeping up with the news as much as I've usually do, obviously, because, I've been running around on vacation, enjoying myself, and kind of taking a break from Manchester United a little bit. But, I've been keeping my eye on a couple of things. I'm highly disappointed in the fact that, I mean, I kind of expected that the Mbeumo deal would be done by now. I hope that it would have been done. The fact that it's not done, the fact that we're apparently looking to put in a third bid. The third bid is not imminent, and we just seem to have gotten to the same point once again where we are stuck. I mean, we did the Cunha deal, but the Cunha deal, like we said before I left, the Cunha deal was one that was easy to do. He wanted to come to us. We did what we had to do in terms of we paid the release clause. There was no negotiations with the club. We went, Delap was supposed to be one. Didn't happen with Liam Delap. Ended up going to Chelsea. We quickly moved on to Mbeumo. And just for reference, we got the tweet from Ornstein 1 month and 5 days ago that said Mbeumo wants Manchester United and has made the exclusivity to only come to Manchester United. That was a month and 5 days ago now. And we still haven't signed him. And the reason why I've titled it Summer Disaster is I know that there is still a decently good amount of the summer left, but I mean, we only have Cunha in, and some people will say Diego Leon, but I don't count Diego Leon because we did that deal ages ago, and it's not really part of the summer transfer window. He was already always coming, so I don't really count Diego. I don't count Diego Leon. I don't count him. And here we are, sitting here, and Gyökeres is going to Arsenal. Apparently, Osimhen has rejected us. We couldn't get the lap. And they're talking about Calvert-Lewin. Um, and I seen the Calvert-Lewin thing, and I got extremely pissed off at Lions because Lions has been talking about Calvert-Lewin for, as a joke, kind of, but he actually rates him. But it was more of a joke because, I mean, he literally wasn't on the radar at all. About a month ago, he was talking about Calvert-Lewin. He said, well, we might as well get Calvert-Lewin. And, I'm looking at my phone yesterday, and I'm seeing that United apparently are in for this. And I'm ready to just take another 2 weeks off, man. I know, but seriously, I can't. I'm here for you guys, and I'm here to talk a little bit about, what's going on with United tonight. So, I will get to the comments. Please bear with me. I'm trying my best. I don't have the best setup. I'm trying to do as best as I can, and so far, it's actually going well. We don't have to go to the stream to the fridge for the stream yet, so that's decent. Please make sure you smash the like button. Get the likes up. We need those likes. They are very important. So, but yes, one of the updates was, as I was just speaking about, from Fabrizio about 10 hours ago, Dominic Calvert-Lewin has been offered to a number of clubs, including Manchester United. But he said that there are no updates about it at the moment. That was 10 hours ago, today, 10 hours ago. And the other one that I also mentioned was that Manchester United really want Victor Osimhen, but asked him to reduce his wages, which the striker rejected. Galatasaray are set to hold talks this week with the player to finalize his agreement. So, maybe he's all set for... He's all set for Galatasaray. I think one of the biggest things and one of the biggest problems we have is that we really need a big summer, and we have huge financial issues. I guess is from what I'm seeing. I mean, we don't have the same setup like how we used to have. And what I mean by setup is we have more of an actual footballing structure, but at the same time, if we had, I seen somebody say this, and I kind of sort of agree. If we had sort of this footballing structure, maybe if we had it about 5-6 years ago, maybe we would have been able to actually be doing things. But where we are as a football club, finishing 8th the season before and finishing 15th last season, and not being in the Champions League and missing out, the restructuring of the Champions League and the prize money. It's essentially the Super League now. It really is. And we're not in it. And that is a huge problem for us. And it's more of a huge problem for us because our football club is in a bad financial state because of our owners. And because of the people that control us and own us and the way that they have done business for the past 12 years. So it really is, it's a really bad time for the football club because me personally, the way I looked at it this summer after everything that has happened throughout the season, I said we need an absolutely huge summer. Ruben Amorim needs all the help. He needs all the help that he could possibly get. And it was their obligation in terms of Ineos to make sure one way, somehow or another, to get these players in for Ruben Amorim so he actually stands a chance. Because I've always argued, whether you agree with Ruben Amorim or not, whether you think Ruben is the guy or not, I've always just stated that it's not really about Ruben, though. It's about the fact that these guys in charge of our football club made the decision to hire a manager who they well knew that his style of football does not match what we had with the current squad. And it's one thing, and it's fine to do that if your plan is to rebuild and remold the squad in a proper way and get new players in. But if we don't have the financial ability to do so, if we don't have the means to be able to do so, and then they're talking about us winning the league in 3 years, I don't understand how. I've kind of lost their planning. They've lost me because I think they had an opportunity in their hands to kind of prove people wrong and show them that, you know what, we are going to do this thing, and we're going to do the things that we are saying. But I think they're losing me. If they haven't lost me completely already, they're definitely 110% losing me because it is July the 7th. The players just returned to Carrington today to get ready for preseason. We have Cunha. For me, we need way more than Cunha, and I'm gonna get to the chat. I'm sorry that I'm ignoring the chat, but yeah, I mean, for me, we just need more, and it's not enough. It's really not enough. Nubis has gone for 2 weeks, but still not missing anything. And Mbeumo, 5 players still here. No no striker, no center mid. Shake my head, and that's kind of, that's kind of how I feel, and why I feel bad, Nubis, and why I'm kind of just it's made me highly disappointed because at the same time it's good because I haven't really missed anything, but at the same time I say well, it's bad because United aren't moving. We're not doing anything. And I've done so much in the past 2 weeks, since I've been here, since I've been on holiday. I've seen so many of my friends. I've done so many things. And I kind of expected United to have, at the very least, I would have expected United to get the Mbeumo thing done over the line and moved on to the next target, which I believe has to be the striker. Delap has gone to Chelsea and Gyökeres is gone to Arsenal. And I'm just really worried. I'm really worried about next season. I'm worried about what's gonna happen because again, like I've always said, it's not really about Ruben Amorim. It's about the club positioning themselves in a successful state and manner, and I worry that it's gonna be. I mean, I don't think Ruben has a lot of wiggle room considering what has happened since he's come in. And I just think for the club as a whole, for you to go into another season with a manager, because again, like I'm saying, it's not like I have an obsession for Ruben, but the implications of what comes out of it is a big deal. And if you go into another season after the season we just had, and you end up firing this manager and you end up sacking this manager, it doesn't fill me with some people may think just sack Ruben and get, world-class coach and we'll be okay. But I think we've seen too many examples of that, of how that doesn't necessarily translate, and actually that really sets you up to derail it derails your season. It's too much instability. We need stability. We're not getting stability. And I'm really worried because, I mean, just for starters, let's just say, we've managed to get Ruben one player in, basically for preseason. I don't know, maybe they're getting Mbeumo in right, they'll sneak it right in right before we take off, maybe. But even that, in my opinion, it's still not good enough, guys. It really isn't, because we just had our worst season ever. And I said from the beginning, I'm going to give them a chance to show that they can, they had the opportunity in their hands to show what it is that they were going to do. And I think, I don't know what's happened with this Mbeumo deal. I don't understand why we can't seem to be kind of doing two things at once, because this Mbeumo deal has halted the entire transfer window, in my opinion, from what it looks like. Because it just seems like we can't do anything else other than we have to do Mbeumo, and Mbeumo's taking a long time because Brentford are holding strong, and we're not able to. It's like we have to sign Mbeumo, then we have to sell players to go and get the next guy, and it's like, well, I'm sorry, but Ineos, this is, to be quite honest and to be quite blunt, it's a shit plan. It's a shit plan. You have we're about to go into preseason. 5 of the players, like Nubis just said before, 5 of the players are still here. 5 of those players, Ruben Amorim clearly stated that he doesn't want, and they can go. They're still here. We're about to start preseason. It's not. We are not anywhere close to where we need to be. And I mean, I'm worried. I'm worried for the manager, and I'm worried for the squad. Um, Ray says this is embarrassing how we can't move players out. Well, it is. I understand some of the players, because again, I mean, the deals that we've made in the past, like, listen, part part of it, like Marcus Rashford, is a problem in terms of doing a deal. He has very high wages. It hasn't gone particularly well for him with us in the past 2 seasons, so it's not like it's an ideal thing. You know, if Marcus Rashford was actually playing very good for us, you know, at this thing, United, it seems like we do everything is backwards. Everything is the wrong timing or the wrong call, because to sell Rashford in the state that Rashford's in, with us asking for 40 million and also his wages being that high, it's not an easy deal. It's not like people are lining up for him. And he also has issues on his side. But then there's people like Casemiro. I mean, Rasmus might be one that we might be able to move on, because Inter Milan, for whatever reason, some people might say, but Inter Milan seem very interested in him. But Rasmus doesn't actually want to leave. So we have so many issues, whether it's one way or the other. I mean, Anthony, you know, Real Betis want Anthony, but they're adamant that they can't actually afford him. They want to do a loan, and with the permanent deal at the end of it, that doesn't necessarily help our situation. So, you know, it's something that isn't really. We are in a bad spot as a club. We are in a bad spot as a club. Nubis says, this is what I fear about when Ineos decided to let Bruno make his own decision whether to stay or go. Clearly, United have no money to spend without selling. Yeah, I mean, Box isn't here, but Box did make a statement, you know, in the Discord the other day, and I did happen to catch it. And you know, it's a fair point, Nubis, but you know, actually, also at the same time, I think Box made a fair point as well, and he said, you know, for the people that wanted Bruno to go, he said, imagine how we would have been looking right now, because for him, I get what he's trying to say. I mean, we've only signed Cunha. We can't get Gyökeres. They're talking about getting Victor. They're talking about getting Calvert-Lewin now, and we're struggling to do Mbeumo. And I don't know. To Box's point, to be fair, I don't know if the money would have 100% necessarily changed all the situations in all the players. I mean, there is no guarantee. Maybe it would have helped a little bit, maybe with like Mbeumo, because we seem to be haggling over 5 million. So, you know, maybe we could have done that. I think Gyökeres, I think there was no chance in terms of the money wouldn't have helped get Gyökeres in. Maybe the money would help with Osimhen because his salary is high, but you know, yeah, it's just a bit all over the place. Ray says, Temeskin says, please United, I want Osimhen and Mbeumo, Ederson, Rios. Well, we are looking at him as well. To United is better for next season. Please, Ineos, make plan for next season. Well, I think we all are like you, Temeskin, but also I think it's a little bit too late, but to be asking them to make the plan for next season. You know, they should have had the plan for next season ready to go. I don't know. For me, the way I saw it was I made the plan up in my head at that time based off of the information we had, and it made sense to me. But clearly, what the plan that I had in my head doesn't seem to be the plan that they've had or that they planned, because I don't know what their plan is. Let me be quite honest. So I don't know what their plan is. They have completely and utterly lost me in what they were supposed to be trying to do or what we are supposed to be trying to do. I have a clear idea of what I would do with the football club, and what we should be doing. I have a clear idea, but in terms of them operating and them moving, they've absolutely lost me. I think we're getting some other news in as well. Ray says, run a club without money, can't rebuild. That's why I believe that Bruno left will be better recruitment. Well, yeah, I mean, I said that too. I think that we could have used it as kind of a stepping block. Listen, it's again, I like Bruno Fernandes. I think he's a good player. It's not Bruno's fault for the state that our football club is in. It's quite obviously the Glazers, and then some of you want to say Sir Jim as well. I'm still a little bit iffy on that because I just kind of feel like the Glazers I just don't think that they were ever really going to sell. And I think that they were always going to do something, somehow, some way. I get people that blame Sir Jim as well. I get it. But, I was kind of hoping that maybe it would work out to our benefit in terms of that somebody comes in and actually hires people that make a football structure and actually looks, kind of actually looks into the club a little bit deeper than them, because the way the Glazers operate is they hire a CEO who is a football guy or a banker, and they just let him run it, and they weren't like managing people, but I mean these guys are here, but to take it over in the position that you're in, and kind of like the way Ray said, I mean. It's kind of being run a little bit without money, because again, we've said this before. We've said how it doesn't necessarily make sense for Sir Jim Ratcliffe to keep throwing in the money unless he's buying up more shares. But if he's buying up more shares, the money goes to the Glazers. It doesn't go to Manchester United, so it doesn't actually necessarily improve our situation. But in fact, Sir Jim would have to give money to the Glazers, and then he would have to also take even more money and then put the money into the football club. So it's like Sir Jim is spending like double the amount of money just to be able to make moves. So it's a bit messy. Grace says, where's my positivity, Eric? We got Cunha and he's our savior. Listen, Cunha's a good player, Grace. He's a good player. I like Cunha. But we've said before, Grace, we know that's not enough. It was never going to be enough, right? And we needed to make moves. We had to make moves. And so far, I think the one thing that we've all said is that they needed to have a good certain amount of players in, at the very least, for the manager before we leave for preseason. And that's not happening. I mean, they've already failed. Even if they manage to get Mbeumo in, I'm not going to, there's no cheering. I mean, I feel like some people in our fan base would probably cheer and be like, we've got Cunha, we've got Mbeumo for preseason, and they'll throw in Diego Leon in there as well, because I've been seeing this sort of kind of still fake hope, fake sort of optimism going on social media, where they're bigging up things that aren't really victories. They're not really things to be bigging up when we were in the state that we needed, and we needed to move in a certain way that we clearly haven't moved, and that we've clearly struggled to do. So Nubis says, I feel like Cunha and possibly Mbeumo are going to be next to Bruno, going to be next Bruno, wasting their prime years because the club couldn't get the right players for the manager. I mean, listen, it could be a big possibility. I mean, there's big implications to come out of what's going to happen, because again, you have to understand, even from the financial aspect, which I know, we're football fans. We should be talking about the football and not really the financials, but welcome to the life of a Manchester United fan under the Glazers' ownership in the past 12 years. There's something that we have to understand about the financial aspect. We've we finished 8th 2 seasons ago. We finished 15th last season, but we were playing in the Europa League. This season, we are not in Europe in any sort of way. Even because I saw somebody talking about this, even if we do manage to make it to 4th or 5th, we supposedly, according to this person that is supposed to be an expert on the finances, we will have less money next year. Supposedly, this is what they're saying, and we will have less money the following year, because if we get into Champions League, that money from the Champions League, from us being in the competition, that money, we won't get it till the following year. It doesn't get paid until the following year. So if United somehow manage to get top 4 or top 5, and we get into the Champions League next season, at the end of next season, we don't get that money from being in the Champions League that summer. So we will enter the Champions League and we will have less money for the following summer window than we do right now, which is a huge problem, because how are we going to compete? So, I'm sorry to return and kind of be the bearer of bad news, but I just, I feel like it's kind of done me a little bit of good. I've taken 2 weeks. I've stepped out of it. I went, yesterday, last night, and the night before, and I kind of just scrolled through a bunch of stuff and reading it. But I've kind of just taken, a few steps back. And I don't, you guys know me, I try to be positive, but the sort of feeling I have right now is that, to be blunt, we're fucked. We're fucked. It's not looking good from any. I just don't see how, we're taking a big gamble on us not being in Europe and therefore being able to perform highly in the league, which then would make us get back into the Champions League to then somehow get the money later on for that, but then continue on this project. And it just doesn't seem very likely. Cheer up, you're ruining the vibes. I'm sorry, but I just this is the way that I'm seeing things. It's not looking good. If we go into a season and we fire the manager again, I mean, I guess it depends what manager you get, but do you really want to be going into another season where we're sacking another manager and we don't know what's going on in the middle of the season? We're going to have to hire somebody else. I don't want that. I don't want that, but I feel like that's sort of what's coming. Now, there's a part of me that says, what if Ineos are so, what if they're so adamant? What if they're so adamant about Ruben Amorim that even if we have a shit sort of season, what if they refuse to fire him? I was thinking about this the other day. What if they just refuse to sack the guy? Because I don't know, maybe they believe in him that much, or they just know that the situation of the club is actually really that bad that they just feel like they actually really can't blame him for this stuff, and they won't sack him. What if it's a horrible season, but they just refuse to get rid of him? Because I was thinking about this yesterday randomly. I don't know how likely it is, but I was just imagine if we get to December and we're in a really bad spot, and basically 80 to 90% of the fan base have absolutely gone apeshit about Ruben Amorim out, and then Neos just basically yeah, but we're not sacking him. We're not sacking him. So, let's see what we got. What do we got? Gray says, why do you think we wanted Cunha and Delap and now we are getting 2 number 10s? Why not go for a striker instead of Mbeumo? Especially with limited funds, we only had 100 million without sales. I mean, it is a good question, Grace. I sort of have a suspicion about it, but I just don't know if it's going to work out like that, or if it even is something that is that's accurate. But from pure speculation, Grace, from pure speculation, the only thing that I can think of is that maybe because Cunha can happen to play as a striker, and maybe we're gonna do some weird sort of hybrid thing with him, where he might not play as the number 10 always, like we've been saying. Maybe we have that sort of as an insurance type of thing. I don't know. I mean, it is a good question, because when we started, like Ray said, when we started, clearly the plan was to get Cunha and a striker. And that was the plan. But we got Cunha and we didn't get the striker, who was the lap. And now we went from Cunha to getting another number 10. Now, I don't know if they stated earlier that it was always sort of in the plan to get 2 number 10s because, again, like somebody like Rashford is supposed to go. Garnacho is supposed to go. Anthony is supposed to go. These are attacking players that they don't fit the system, but they're not. We need attackers to replace them in different positions. Obviously, like most of them are wingers or inverted forwards. But maybe Grace, maybe it's just as simple as they were going for Delap and Cunha because both of them had buyout clauses and it was the easiest deals for them to do. And maybe they were worried about it from a PR sort of standpoint a little bit. And they were like, you know what? These are 2 win-wins that we can knock right off the bat. You know what I mean? Because they're buyout clauses and we can just, as soon as we start the summer window, we can just be like, boom, boom, and get Delap and get Cunha in and be like, look at us. We did 2 signings in like 1 day. And, put that all over the place and kind of post that around. And then maybe they would have went for Mbeumo after, or number 10, which would have then probably bought them time for them to maybe haggle because they need to haggle. But one of the things that I will say, and I'll bring back up, of course, is, I mean, some of you have mentioned it already, that we're trying to kind of do things without money or a lack of money. I'd like to remind everybody, our CEO, I think Bruno Fernandes said it as well, or Ruben Amorim, I'm sorry, not Bruno Fernandes. But just remember, a couple people from our football club said that we have money and that we didn't need to sell Bruno to do maneuvers. So, I didn't buy that at the time. I don't buy it now because I think it's quite clear and obvious. I mean, we've been haggling for 5 million over Mbeumo. If you have money, you don't haggle over 5 million for Mbeumo. So, chat. Nuba says, why not follow PSG's blueprint and buy young? Let these kids grow with the homegrown players that United currently have and hit the prime together. Well, I mean, we were doing that, sort of, in a certain way, Nubis. We were doing that because we were looking decently sort of young. But I think one of the things was that, like, they decided somewhere, and I guess it was when Ruben came in. I don't know if they planned on doing this, in the second window or not, but they have decided that we need ready-made Premier League players, and that's why they seem like they're going. I mean, for the very least, Cunha and Mbeumo, and then a couple of the other players that have been mentioned that are also from the Premier League. But they didn't do that their first season. They didn't do that the first summer they were here. That was not the plan at all. So I don't know if that was something that they always had planned to do, going forward after that first window, or that was something that they decided needed to happen because Ruben came in, and Ruben's obviously the way he plays is quite different to what we have as a squad, and they made the decision that to go get ready-made Premier League sort of players. That way they can just integrate better or faster into Ruben's system, so that they actually have a chance in the Premier League. Ray says, we keep buying the same position, never buy what really needs a striker, please. I mean, we need to buy the striker. They don't really have, I lost the chat a little bit. They don't really have an option, you know what I mean? In terms of like, not getting one. I mean, for me, them not getting a striker is absolutely unacceptable. So, I'm just trying to fix the chat. So, okay, go back up. I'm really behind. So I apologize. Nubis says Osimhen's saga is super weird. He has an offer from Saudi, huge salary, but he rejected it. If he wants money, why not go there? If he wants to play for a top club, he has to drop salary. Well, I think he's trying to have a little bit of his cake and eat it too, buddy. I understand what you mean by it. The saga is weird because it's kind of been like a little bit back and forth, and it's kind of been all over the place and stuff. But I think what he's trying to do is he wants money, but he also doesn't want to play in a league like the Saudi league. I think he wants money, but he wants to be able to at least play in a league where he can be involved in the Champions League still. So I think that's kind of what's happening there. Grace says, "How's Disneyland?" It's beautiful. It's fantastic. We are not actually in Disneyland. I wish we were. Never been to Disneyland actually, but maybe we should go one time. No, but Malta's good. It's been good so far. Just hanging out with some of the friends, some of the lads, as they would say, as they say over here. So, yeah, it's going good. I'm glad the stream is actually going good. And we were meant to do one the other day, but or last week, but things just got out of hand, and I literally didn't have time. So, give me un momento, because it's getting dark in here, and I feel like I should put on the lights. Hopefully that's good. Maybe you can see me better now. Yep. Yeah. All right. Back to the chat. Guys, please remember, please hit the like button. It's important. So if you haven't hit the like button, please make sure you hit the like button, because I think we have 5 likes. We have 10 people watching. So please just make sure that you hit the like button, because it is a big help to the channel, and we need as many likes as possible. Brighton Nyambayo says, this club must put for sale, not joke owners. Well, I mean, that's 100%, and that's ultimately really what we need, my friend. That's what we need. I was thinking about this the other day as well, because I saw one of these financial guys mention on Twitter, and maybe it's not the ideal of what we need, and if it were to happen, it'd be a long way back for us, guys. But we kind of talked about this a little bit once before. But I mean, if the Glazers took the club to a point where they had to get some sort of outside investment, which is obviously Sejim, right? That's what they ultimately wanted. They wanted a minority investment to allow them to keep going, and in their hopes that the club's fortunes could be turned around so that they can stay here for the next 5, 10, whatever, how many years it is. And then they can ultimately sell the club for some absolutely ridiculous amount of money. and then they would ride off into the sunset or whatever they, are supposed to do. But the other scenario I think that might might be a realistic thing is if this thing with Ineos doesn't go well, and so far it's not going well, because we've managed to finish in 15th. And also, I mean, they came in mid-season that season, but we finished 8th. If this thing fails and it keeps going in the way that we're supposed to be going, I'm not in the toilet. I'm in my bedroom. If this keeps going the way that it's going now, we're gonna get to a point where we have probably total and ultimate financial collapse, which in turn might maybe forces the Glazers to look for an actual buyer and actually get out. The only thing that bothers me about that is that these guys, you can say whatever you want about them, but listen, as far as money, loopholes, banking, and stuff like that, I mean, I just can't see them. I can't see them bringing the club to a point where it's in such a financial ruin that, for example, Qatar would come back in and be like, yeah, remember how we offered you 5.5 billion last time? Yeah, I mean, you guys have absolutely messed this football club up. That the football club's only worth 3.5 billion. I wouldn't see them accepting that. That's the only thing that's kind of bothering me. In my opinion, there's no way the Glazers would, they would not give up their asset for less than the amount that they just had on the table as of recently. So I don't know exactly, if we were to fail financially, I don't know, because if this thing with Sir Jim doesn't work out, we fail financially. Like this is what I'm trying to say. Like we're already struggling. If we can't compete and if we can't be at a decent level, we're going to continue to lose more money, which means that we fail. We fail financially. Sir Jim and his thing has failed. They'll probably look to get out, which then just leaves us back with the Glazers in an even worse financial situation and position than where we originally started. But I just don't see how people like them would take a loss, in terms of they had an offer that was supposed to be 5 billion or 5.5 billion from Qatar. I don't see how they accept anything less than that, even if we are screwed. I think that they would be absolute leeches about it. They would do whatever they possibly could to try and hold on, to try and recoup the money, even if that means us suffering, while they're trying to desperately hold on. So I don't know how that works, but I hope it doesn't really get to that. But Andresito says Bruno's transfer money would have probably gone to the debt or the owners, or at least a portion of it. I mean, yeah, I think we probably wouldn't have seen all of it, Andresito, for sure. So I think you're correct about that. Rajat says hi, no audio. Hotel bro, nice. Never mind, it's okay. Audio is good. I'm really behind on the chat, so I'm gonna try and get to where I got. But what's up, Rajat? Do you think Man United will get another center back? Rajat, I mean, we need a striker, buddy. Don't even ask me about center backs. We gotta get. First of all, we gotta sign a second player. But I mean, we need a striker, man. Man United have different setting and structure. Oh, that wasn't good. Hold on. Yeah. Phone being. Oh, is it dead? All right, hold on. Sorry, it's gonna get a little wavy. All right, I'm just gonna hold it. I had I had a thing, but yeah, don't worry about it. We'll just we'll leave you like this, or whatever. I don't know. Somehow, somewhere, be professional. I'm trying. Yeah, I had one of the stands. I don't know what to call it. The little tripod thing that I have. It's electronic, and the battery just died, so that's why it did that. And now I gotta face it like this. But back to the chat. Back to the chat. I'm always wondering. You kind of remind me of someone. Now I remember. Mike Shinoda. Who is that? I gotta look him up now after Nubis. Gray says, "Do you think they wanted rid of Rasmus, and that's why they wanted the lap? It was an easy deal to do, and they can let Rasmus go. Now Amarim can't say to Rasmus, 'I don't want you,' because there's no new striker." I mean, it is a possibility. But I think they might still kind of be looking to get rid of Rasmus because, again, I mean, Inter Milan, for whatever reason, whether you want to believe it or not, but Inter Milan, they apparently want Rasmus. So, I mean, for a club that we're in a position where we look like we're struggling to get rid of players, I mean, and for the way that people talk about Rasmus and how much they dislike him, and they say that he is such a bad striker, for somebody like Inter Milan to be interested in Rasmus, I think that's like that. They'll kind of be a little bit like Christmas has come home early, because you can take the money from Rasmus, especially Inter, if they're gonna give us, from what I've seen, I believe it was 40 million or so. So I don't know. I think they definitely. I don't know if they were 100% set on definitely selling Rasmus, but I mean, I think Ruben made it quite clear that we need a striker, and he wanted a striker. Do you want another left back? I have more options, bro. I seen people as asked about that the other day as well, talking about that, and I think, you know what, I mean, the position we're in. I mean, we got to get Mbeumo over the line. We got to get that done, and we got to get the striker so that we can actually talk about looking to get a midfielder, maybe a center back, maybe a left back. People wanted a goalkeeper. I don't know if that's happening. This apparently we didn't talk about that yet. Apparently, Andre Onana has apparently been listed or by Manchester United or quoted for 30 million. Apparently, we've said that he has a 30 million price tag, but apparently he's not going anywhere. So it's kind of useless. Andresito said United was the most watched club. Those TV deals are massive. They also sell out every game, and merch sales are up. There is no way that this club is as broke as they act. If anything, they look cheap. I get that, Andresito, but we actually really are, because I mean, there's I would advise you to go, because it's a lot of information, and again, it's not my position of expertise, but there's a man by the name of Swedish Rumble, or I think it's Swedish Rumble on X, on Twitter, if you have Twitter. Now this guy is absolute, he can't tell you. I wouldn't take his word on who we should put in the midfield, but when he speaks on finances and how the things actually work and how they actually break down, he is actually very, 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 very good at that sort of stuff. I see Lyle is laughing at me. I'm not a Linkin Park guy. All right, I know Linkin Park like as Linkin Park, but that's not my thing. But I mean, I guess maybe shame on me. I should have known that. But I know Linkin Park as Linkin Park. I'm gonna be quite honest. I can't tell you individually who they are. That's just not. I just didn't. He died, bro. Oh yeah, that was the guy that died. Oh, well, rest in peace to that guy then. Rest in peace to bro. Oh, and by the way, because we weren't live, but I mean, it was horrible. Rest in peace to Diogo Jota and his brother Andre Silva as well. We weren't live for that, so that was some sad shit, man. Still sad shit, but I mean, that was just trash to wake up to. But yeah, Grace says, hit the likes or I mess you up, you bunch scrubby little runts. She will mess you up. She will mess you up. You are gone to Italy right now, maybe. I'm in Malta. I'm not in Italy. Ben McLean said they wanted a scapegoat. Well, there's a lot of scapegoats, apparently, by the fans. But as I've always said, you know, you know who's a scapegoat right now? Because I actually bringing it up. It's a good point, Ben. You made me remember, Ben. Manuel Ugarte posted a social media post the other day, and it was just him and I don't know if it's his wife or his girlfriend, whoever it is, significant other. Just put up a lovely picture of them somewhere, on holiday, and I think he wrote a heart. And the amount of Manchester United fans that went in there and told him pretty much to fuck off and get out of our club, and saying that he is the worst midfielder ever and how they hate him was deeply disturbing. Highly, highly disturbing. I don't really understand the hate towards the guy. He's been here for a season. He had a decently good period between November and February where he was actually played very good. The rest of the team, I mean, was dog shit because we finished in 15th. So it's not like you can say that it's not like you can say a majority of the squad played good and he didn't. So I don't really understand the hate towards Manuel Ugarte. I find it a bit strange and I find it a bit just disturbing, really, because I don't really get it. I don't really get it. But yeah, I mean, I went in that post and I saw that thing, and there was prominent people that called it out. I mean, Alice Talks Footy called it out. Terry Flewers took it out, called it out as well, as they should, because they have a large following, and I think they need to do things like that. But yeah, it was really weird. And I find it strange, and I don't agree with it. I think it's quite disgusting. I really don't understand it, to be quite honest. So, which says, remember, don't drop the soap. Well, I could drop the soap in my house. I'm in my house. I'm not in prison. I'm not in jail. I could drop it in my house. Nothing's gonna happen to me in my house, in my own house. There's nobody in here. It's just me. But yes, if you go to prison, don't drop the soap. Eric Cantona or David Bex? Personally, for me, Bex. That's my guy. But I love Cantona as well because, we share a name. And I like characters as well. And he was definitely a character. So, you think so, Grace? I'll get there anyway. Lyle, I'm really behind in the chat. Lyle, what's up, buddy? Rajat says, I'm not so angry if Andre Onana doesn't leave. Grace says, would you be happy with Cunha and Mbeumo and Xerxes front three? I'm gonna be honest, Grace, probably not. I wouldn't necessarily feel happy about that. Listen, if it works, Grace, if it works, I'll be happy because it's not about the player, right? It's not about like, oh, Xerxes not a flashy toy. That's not the thing that concerns me. I just don't think with Cunha and Mbeumo and Xerxes the front three, I just don't think Xerxes is the 9 that I feel like is gonna score us 15, 20 goals. I just don't see it coming from him. I think we would need actually somebody that, for me, I'd rather have Xerxes being playing as a 10. I don't know. But at the same time, I could be wrong, and I would hope nothing more than I would be wrong if that was the situation we ended in, and Xerxes scores tons of goals, and that front three is a front three that clicks. I would be absolutely ecstatic because at the end of the day, I don't really care um, about the player themselves. I just personally, I don't think it would work well with Xerxes. There's the front three, so I would be highly concerned. So I wouldn't necessarily be happy with it. But if that was something that happened and we went in with it and it performed, then I would be happy about it. Yeah. Scalvini might be available for 30 million. Oh, well, we don't have the money. Well, they better find the money for Scalvini. Can't make Bruno's wife, girlfriend, and kids leave the country. Well, no, you definitely can't. I mean, that's a good point. It's a good point. I mean, listen, I mean, maybe you could have forced the hand a little bit more. I think United were sort of, it's a good point, Rajat, but I think United were sort of a little laissez-faire about it. I don't think they really wanted to sell Bruno. It was never part of their plan. Amorim definitely didn't want to sell Bruno. It was never part of their plan at all. I think sometimes you can make it a little bit more to your point and a little bit more to your plan and be like, hey, yeah, we kind of need you to go. We kind of want you to go. You know, please leave. But we didn't get there. So, Grace says more chance of Onana as a captain than leaving this summer. I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, Lincoln Park. Yeah, my bad. My bad. Again, I'm not a Lincoln Park person. Obviously, I know Lincoln Park, but I don't like. I can't tell you all the people in Lincoln Park. It's just not me. It's just not what I grew up on. You know what I mean? Grace says, I hope Delow's okay. Yeah, well, that was one of the things. Apparently, Bruno and Diego Delo have been given some extended time off because of the death of Diego Jota and Andre Silva. So, yeah, I mean, listen, especially for people like them who obviously, I mean, they're all Portuguese. They played on the national team with each other. You know, that sort of stuff is could have a deep effect on some of them. It obviously is quite shocking, you know, in that it happened, and I don't think anybody was expecting that sort of stuff to happen, especially to somebody like him. And the whole story is quite sad, man. You know, the wife and the kids. I felt absolutely horrible for the wife because, I mean, they did everything together from the age of 14, 15 years old. They pretty much gone through like half of the journey with each other. And for it to kind of end in that way, that just it sucks. That's, you know, it's one of the most messed up things. So yeah, I felt, you know, when I learned that story of that, I felt even worse. And then you have people like Bruno, and you have people like, you know, Delo, and obviously others that they know these people personally. You know, they might know the wife, they might know the kids. So yeah, it's obviously, it's one that definitely could take a toll. So hopefully they're okay. Hopefully they'll be okay. I saw that apparently we also offered them psychiatric help to some sort. I guess like if they need to talk to somebody about some of these things, we have provided them some sort of a service as well. So hopefully they'll be okay, and hopefully they'll be back with us soon. But they can take the time that they need to take. That's okay. Grace says Terry isn't a United fan the way he gasses up Arsenal every day, but I hate Arsenal. I I get why you say that. A lot of people say that about Terry. Um, but Terry is a guy that his channel is not a United channel. His channel is it's a general football channel. He happens to be a United channel, and his channel is to cover all aspects. And he does gas up Arsenal a lot, and he is a United fan. But I think he does a good job to do it. Is it objectively or non-objectively? Let's just put it. He does a good job to try and be fair and not be maybe like the rest of us, where we are heavily biased, and we won't give Arsenal any credit because we hate Arsenal. You know what I mean? But that's his show and his job, and I think he does it well. And he is a smart guy as well, and he's fair. I think he's fair. And also, a little tidbit about that, just so you didn't, if you ever knew. I don't think I've ever told anybody, but he used to do, I think he still does, but he doesn't do them as often as he used to do. He actually used to do call-ins on his show, on the Football Terrace. And one time I called in, and this was about, I think it was when United were trying to get Haaland. And I called in to his show, and I spoke to him. And it was the first time I was ever on a stream. And actually, him providing that opportunity sort of gave me the courage to be able to do these sorts of shows. Because after I did it, listen, when I did it, I was absolutely nervous. I called in. My face wasn't on the camera, but I was stuttering. Because he has a large following, and what happened was I caught the chat, and the chat, chat is chat. Like some people agree with what you say, some people are like, what the fuck is this person saying? So I started getting even more nervous. So I blocked the chat, and I just talked to him. And yeah, it was a good conversation. I basically told him something. I can't remember what it was. We were talking about Haaland, and I was basically like, if City get Haaland, then essentially we're probably fucked. And then, yeah, so it went like that. But yeah, I was always grateful for that, because I after it ended, obviously I wasn't nervous anymore. And then I kind of was like, it gave me that feeling like I was that was cool. It was like an interaction, I was like, I just talked to some people that like live all the way on the across the ocean, that were United fans, because there was more than just Terry on there. And I was like, I actually liked it. So it actually helped me build a little bit more confidence to be able to do these sorts of shows. So the low over continent, says Grace. Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised by that. Rajat says, don't worry about Mick Ruby. He is not really Man United. He's pretending to be one. Grace says, Eric wants Cunha and Mbeumo and DLC front three. Why do we need a striker in behind if Cunha and Mbeumo make those runs? PSG won't. PSG won UCL using Dembele in the middle. Well, maybe we don't, Grace. I mean, it's a good point. Maybe we don't. Maybe we don't, Grace. Maybe we don't. Thank you, everybody that smashed the like button, by the way. Appreciate you guys very much. Maybe we don't need the striker in the middle. Maybe, but I don't know. The way Ruben plays, I think everybody just sort of assumes that we need the striker because he had Gyökeres, and that's what worked for him, and that's what he used. And even before Sporting, when he was at Braga, he had some sort of a striker, even though he wasn't there for long, because Sporting came and snapped him up from Braga, but he was still doing well at Braga. Was it Braga? Yeah, Braga. Grace says, apparently Arsenal have been scary for 3 years. F4 face. I mean, hey, they're a little bit scary. They're a little bit scary. I mean, they've been a little bit scary, but they're not that scary because they haven't won. But then listen. To be fair, I mean Arsenal do play some. They play good football. They play good football right now. The only thing is that they've been lacking in a position or two. I think Arsenal is actually. I'm actually a little bit scared of Arsenal because they're getting Gyökeres. They're gonna have a proper striker, and I've been telling my friends that are Arsenal fans for about a year and a half now. I'm like, you guys need a striker. I told them I was like, they tried to big up Jesus. I'm like, Jesus ain't fucking it. I was like, don't come talk to me about Gabriel Jesus. I was like, he ain't it. I was like, you guys need a striker. You need a striker. And lo and behold, they got the striker that I wanted. So now I don't feel so good. I don't feel so good about it. I don't feel so good about it. I'm going to call in to tell him to stop gassing Arsenal up. I'm bloody sick of it. Well, you can. He still does call-ins apparently every once in a while. So, but Grace, you're literally, there's like thousands of people that tell him that every day. So he knows, but he's used to it. Nothing wrong with using a false nine. Plenty of good teams do. Yeah, I mean, listen, maybe that's what we do. Maybe that's what we do. So yeah, maybe that's what we do. It's been a good chat. Terry's got to be. Save yourself now, she says. That hasn't gotten to me. Let's do a quick roundup of the news and then we'll get out of here and we'll come back live another day. But there was a story that said Javi Guerra was apparently close to joining Manchester United, only to be told about like 4 hours later that he is not close to moving to Manchester United. The club instead hopeful of getting him to sign a new deal later this week. So Manchester United. This was about Mbeumo 7 hours ago. I think we got some stuff while we were live, so I'll just make sure to. But Manchester United's absolute focus remains on Bryan Mbeumo deal, with talks set to continue this week. No agreement with Brentford last week, but United kept working on it, and Bryan also keeps giving priority to United move. And that was from Fabrizio. One of the things that we got also from Fabrizio was about Rasmus. And it said Rasmus Højlund wants to stay at Manchester United. He will only leave if club decide to sell him. Interesting. Matheus Cunha has arrived for training this morning. Onana has arrived for training this morning. I don't know why. Them two. The players who reported for training today are as follows. It's Ahmad, Amos, Collier, Cunha, Delit, Fredrickson, Heaton, Heaven, Leon, Mainu, Mazawari, Mount, Onana, Shaw, Xerxes. And also, I guess, Cunha. Did they say Cunha? Oh, yeah, okay. And Cunha. Hesty's in here. I'll get back to the chat in a second. Let me go through. Let me just hit the news, and I'll jump back into the chat. Keep chatting away. Keep putting stuff in there. 3 hours ago, Chris Wheeler said Manchester United have put a £30 million price tag on Andre Onana, but he looks increasingly likely to stay. Yeah, that's probably because nobody has put in a bid. Chris Wheeler followed that up by saying United boss Ruben Amorim and goalkeeper coach Jorge Vital are said to be happy with Onana, despite speculation over a move for Aston Villa's Emi Martinez. I mean, I don't know if I actually buy that or not. I don't understand how they can necessarily be happy with him. Maybe they're happy with his attitude. Maybe they're happy with his, I don't know, the way he, I guess, conducts himself. But I don't, the mistakes he made, see, this is one of the things that maybe I worry a little bit about Amorim. He seems to take a lot of, there was times, and I get it because it's public and it's to the media, so I get it. But there was a lot of times where and some people would say rightfully so because he's the manager, but I think there was a couple times where he took personally himself said that he would take full extent of the blame of certain things that have happened, and I worry a little bit that Amarim and his goalkeeping coach are like, the mistakes that Onana made, like, yeah, he made them, but it's our fault because we have to make him better and we got to make him make less mistakes. And I don't know if that can actually work. And I don't know if that's actually necessarily true with somebody like him. Because he's made those mistakes prior to Amarim even being here. He's actually kind of been doing them almost his whole career. So I I hope that doesn't have a huge impact. I don't really believe that he's necessarily. I think I think if Amarim could pick and he could get his way, I think he would be getting a new goalkeeper, 100%. And he would be picking, if he could pick the guy that he wanted, he'd be getting a new one in. But I think with the situation at Manchester United, I think he's probably looking at it like, I would maybe look to move to do this, but our situation as a football club is kind of fucked. And he isn't like the worst person to deal with and the worst person to work with. So I guess we'll just have to make do. Now, one of the things about Mbeumo as well is that apparently João Pedro's £60 million move to Chelsea and Newcastle's £55 million offer for Alenga have only served to strengthen the resolve of Brentford to demand well in excess of £60 million. While Man United have not walked away from talks yet and seemingly have no intention of doing so, it looks inevitable that the saga will drag on. Well, I mean, it's been a whole month already, so like, how much longer can this really drag on? I don't think it could drag on much more than that. Just refreshing to see if we got any other news because I don't think it refreshed properly. This was 2 hours ago. Let's see, any other sources that we follow putting out anything from Manchester United? Casemiro posting a picture with his wife on the beach. He looks really lean and fit, they are saying. So, I mean, that's good. We like to see that from our players, taking care of themselves, but also enjoying themselves. Apparently, Pletigol, an hour ago, an agreement between Galatasaray and Napoli for the signing of Victor Osimhen is very close. A permanent move is expected to be finalized in the coming days. That was an hour ago. So it looks like we ain't getting Osimhen either. I'm sorry, but if we end up with Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I mean, I'm not even a fan of Ollie Watkins. I think there might have been some fake news before because I don't see it anywhere on my timeline. But I did get a notification that apparently United put in a 25 million bid for Ollie Watkins and it was rejected. But I think it was fake because I don't see it, and I think it probably got deleted or something like that. But I mean, I'm gonna be quite honest. For Ollie Watkins, that's probably what I'd probably pay no more than 30 million for Ollie Watkins. He's 29, and I don't really think I don't really, from what I've seen from him, I don't really rate him like that. But I mean, I guess my strikers are all gone, so I'm just gonna have to deal with whatever we get, I guess, because I always said that I think we needed Victor Gyökeres or Victor Osimhen, and we ain't getting either. And for me, that was kind of the end of the list. I think it was just those two. Kind of everybody else that I'd look at, they don't give me the same type of vibes. So, Yeah, I don't see much here. A lot of stuff in the last hour. Somebody asked, can somebody explain the science behind Osimhen choosing Galatasaray over Manchester United? Money. That is the science. Money. Galatasaray, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but you guys can tell me. If I'm not mistaken, Galatasaray is in the Champions League, yeah? Oh, I figured I had to get the chat on screen. I mean, that would have helped a long time ago. So, Hesty says, I follow Terry as well, but once I see a lot of panels, I avoid it. I just can't, LOL, especially Arsenal fans. They argue all the time. Yeah, I get what you mean. It does. Listen, sometimes it makes for some really good content because the arguments or whatever the fallouts that ensue in there. But then you kind of got to be in the mood, the vibe for it. You know what I mean? Sometimes it gets a bit too much. Who's shouting outside? You can hear that. You can hear that. You can hear them, Grace. You can hear them. That's So there's like a school over here, and the kids. That's hilarious. I didn't know you could hear them. There's a school over here, and the kids go there. They're actually playing football right now. They're playing pickup game between each other. They're there like basically every day at around this time. They go play football against each other, like how I used to do when I came here when I was a kid as well. We used to do it all the time. Now we do it less, but we still plan. We're gonna go play a pickup match. Maybe I'll get some footage for that, and I'll drop it in for you guys. You can see me play a little bit of football. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes and when we're gonna do it. Why doesn't it keep the chat here though? I want to keep the chat. Snoopy says visitation hours over. The warden wants his tablet/phone back. Hesty says I would sacrifice our chance to get MF as long as Amarim gets new goalkeeper. Casemiro is lean. We are back. Says great. That's the newest, that's the only thing that we can. That's the biggest thing we got to celebrate is Casemiro's keeping himself lean. Nobody outside of Gyökeres or Osimhen could get me excited anymore. That's kind of how I feel, Hesty. I hope maybe we're wrong and maybe somebody we pick up somebody and you know what, maybe it actually works out and they do a good job. But I feel that way, Hesty. I feel like whoever they go for now, they tell me they got Ali Watkins. I'll be like, okay, good, they got a striker, but I ain't gonna be excited. I'll back him, and I wish nothing but the best, and I hope he does absolutely excellent. But I ain't gonna be excited like I would be excited about Gyökeres or Osimhen. They tell me we get Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I will literally do a stream and I will cry on it, because that will make me extremely sad. I don't want to see him here, but it is what it is. Maybe Rasmus work good with Cunha. Maybe, and maybe that's why we're going for. Maybe that's why we're going for Mbeumo, because technically we have a lot of players that can play the 10. So technically we have a lot of players that can actually play the number 10. So I mean, I feel like maybe out of the options that are available to us, that's going on right now. I'm looking at it and I'm like, I don't know. I might be wrong. I might be crazy, but I'm like, I might prefer Cunha playing at the striker instead of maybe Ollie Watkins. Definitely over Calvert-Lewin, 110%. You know what's happened to Mateta. That story, I don't know if something happened because again I've been missing for 2 weeks, so I might have missed it, but I haven't seen anything about Mateta. I don't know what, apparently we were linked heavily to Mateta. Now I haven't seen a thing about Mateta, so I don't know what's going on there, but I'm sure Rasmus would be better. I'm sure Rasmus would be better, but it's not enough. He's okay for me as a backup. So no, it's not enough. I mean, it hasn't been enough. It was never enough, Hesty. Again, I have no problem if he stays as a backup, or just another option. I mean, fight it out. If he gets in form and he's scoring goals, he doesn't have to necessarily be just the backup. But last season, we needed more than just him. We didn't go for one. This season, we actually bought him. We were supposed to get another one anyway, because that was literally the plan. And that's what we literally all said was like, we need a younger guy and we needed an experienced guy. And then we just paid 72 million for the younger guy who clearly wasn't ready. And we didn't get an experienced guy. And we can't listen. If we do it a third season in a row, then we deserve whatever comes to us, because I think that we've had plenty of chances and opportunities to do the right thing and actually get another striker in there, and kind of help us out in that department. And if we didn't do it, then we didn't do it. Hesty says he'll be crying too if it's Calvert-Lewin. I'm glad so many of you joined at this time too, because we've never actually streamed at this time. Obviously, this is a different time for me because I am 6 hours ahead of my normal time. So I'm actually really glad that so many of you were able to get in the show. I'm glad all of you have smashed the like button, as many as you could. Yeah, I'm happy. I didn't know how it was going to go, to be honest, because we've never streamed at this time. And it was quite early, so I was a bit concerned. I know a few of us, haven't been able to make it because I'm sure people are working and stuff like that. It is quite earlier than we usually stream. So, Grace says Cunha has played most of his games as a center forward, but it's been in a two striker. Yes, that is true, 100%. So yeah, I don't know how it would work as a one, because it is different. And he has played mostly as a center forward, but in a two striker setup, which that is different. You got somebody to play off of. And we obviously don't have that, but I mean, maybe you could have it sort of play like that, Grace, in terms of the formation that we have. You could have one of the 10s kind of maybe play a little bit more like that, or maybe him playing as the 10 and play more like that, and play more as a center forward. Have the other 10 do something else, maybe go out to the wing or something. I don't know. That's Ruben's got to figure that sort of stuff out. Just before we go, because I see that one of these, that's not important. Oh, well, here we go. Apparently we've gotten some good news. So, Newcastle retain an interest in Dominic Calvert-Lewin, but are reticent to meet his terms. Nothing is advanced currently, nor has a new offer been presented to Calvert-Lewin so far. Newcastle United are still assessing several options after missing out on João Pedro and learning Callum Wilson would not extend. A move would only progress if Calvert-Lewin reduces his terms from 12 months ago, when Newcastle made a concrete offer. And even then, Newcastle are somewhat worried of Calvert-Lewin's injury record. Yeah, I mean, I was being sarcastic. It's not really good news. Please go to Newcastle. Please go to Newcastle, because the way things are going right now, it's falling in line for us to end up with this guy. And I don't want to see him. I don't want to see this guy. You see this guy? I don't want to see him. Look at him. Look at him. I don't want to see that at